Hi, this is Erica from FiveLittleMonsters.com. A few days ago, about a week or so ago, I shared a new pattern on my blog, or a couple new patterns, for this hat and this scarf. And I've gotten a few questions about the stitches that I used in this pattern, specifically this stitch right here and this stitch right here. So this one here is created by using half double crochet stitches and working them in the third loop, or the loop kind of behind. This is the top of the stitch, and so you work behind that and it creates this almost knit look. I've done a few other patterns that have also used this stitch, but with this pattern I'd gotten a lot of questions about how exactly to make it, and so I thought I'd do a video. I'm going to do this video showing how to do this stitch, and then I'll do another one that shows how to do this stitch, which is called the bead stitch. But for this one, we're going to look at this, how to get this knit look with the half double crochet. So here I have started the hat. It's just the beginning of this hat here, so it's this top section. I've worked the first 7 rows here. The first 6 rows of this hat are double crochet, but then this last row, the 7th row, or round, is half double crochet. So that's what we're going to be using to create this stitch. So all you do is half double crochet as normal for this first round, and then I'm going to chain 2 to start my round. And this stitch works best in the round. If you work it in rows, you're not going to get the same look. It'll look a little bit different. Well, quite a bit different. So to get this exact look with the rows of little V's like this, it has to be worked in the round. If you know how to make a half double crochet, this stitch is really easy. It's just a matter of where you place the stitch, but the stitch is exactly the same as just a normal half double crochet. The only thing different is where you're working it. So if you were doing a normal half double crochet, you would work into these two. Here, let me do one so it's easier to show. Okay, so you would work under these 2 loops. That's where you would normally place your stitch. Sometimes you'll see a pattern that calls for front loop only, in which case you would only work under this stitch. And sometimes you see a pattern that'll call for back loop only, in which case you would only work under this stitch. For this one, we're working in the third loop. So what that means is you've got your top 2 loops here, and then if you turn it over, there's a third loop back here. And we're going to be working our stitch into that loop. So you can see the top of your stitch, and then this one behind. It's like a little bar behind, so we're going to be working into there, and there, and there, and there. You can see all along there. So I didn't work this one in the right place. Let me take that out. So you just half double crochet into that bar behind, and then again in the bar behind, and just keep doing that all the way around. You're just going to work in that back space. Just keep half double crocheting all the way around. So what you're doing is you're pushing, so the top of your stitch is pushed forward. So what you're actually seeing right here is the top of the stitch. But when you work several rounds of that, you get this stitch that almost looks like a stockinette stitch in knit, except for it's kind of turned the opposite direction. But it still kind of gives that same effect. And so that's how you get those rounds. So let me just go around here, and you just keep going, working in that back loop and pushing those top stitches forward. So I did a total of 3 rounds of this stitch on this particular hat. So I would do, this would be my first, and then my second, and then I did a 3rd round. And then after that, the next round I did a round of single crochet, but I still worked it in the back loop so that it still pushed those front stitches forward. So I had 3 rounds of these stitches looking like this. And then I went on to the next stitch. But I've also done a scarf and a hat that's completely in this stitch, so I just do round after round after round of half double crochet worked in that third loop. And it just gives kind of a cool effect using a very basic crochet stitch, but making it look a little bit different and kind of neat. So now I've completed that second round. So this was the round that I'd already made before I started the video, just regular half double crochets worked into the round below. In this hat pattern, that's round 7. So then this is round 8. I've just completed that round, and you can see how it's pushed forward that top of that round before. So like I said, in this one I did 3 rounds like that, so I'm just going to start the next round here and work all the way around one more time using the same stitch, just half double crochet in that third loop behind the top of the stitch. And now I've completed that third round of half double crochet. So this part is going to depend on the pattern that you're following. What you're doing, you may just keep continuing this stitch, doing rows of half double crochet. You can do a whole hat like that. I have a pattern that's like that. But in this particular pattern, you can see in this hat, I just have 3 rounds of that stitch, and then we move on to the bead stitch. So the way that I get so that this round also is turned down like that, I'm just going to work single crochet round as kind of my base for the bead stitch round, but I'm still going to work it in that third loop so that I'm still pushing that top part forward to give me that third round of half double crochet in the third loop. So you can see as I do that, it just pushes it forward, and then I'm going to work my next round into that row of single crochet. So that's how you do the half double crochet in the third loop, and you can see it just gives it kind of a cool texture look. There's a lot of patterns that use this stitch. I have a few different patterns on my blog. The bead stitch hat and the bead stitch cowl are just 2 of the patterns that I've posted recently that use this stitch. You can find the patterns for this hat and cowl on my blog, 5littlemonsters.com. I will put the link in the description to directly link to the pattern for each of these, and also for a couple of other patterns that I have that use this stitch so that you can see different ways to use it. I hope that this helps clarify how to do that stitch. If you need help with the bead stitch portion of this hat, I will have another video that shows how to do that. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy these patterns.